Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse, sponsored by Midwest Commercial Real Estate Advisors. Today, I am joined by Micah Beebe. Micah is a broker on the multifamily and land side here at Midwest Commercial Real Estate Advisors. And we've got a special edition today where we're going to be breaking down another one of our projects for you guys. But just as an overarching theme here, our team is dedicated to delivering top-notch service and results, right? We're about results. We're trying to bring market intelligence and a new collaborative approach to every single client that we serve. And we're looking forward to sharing our insights with you all here today. And why do we do this, right? Well, the Kansas City Market Pulse is our go-to source for real-time data-driven insights, right? It's our goal to give you insights into the Kansas City commercial real estate market, whether you're an investor, a broker, a developer, or just commercial real estate curious. This show is designed to help keep you ahead of the curve. We always say here, we're trying to help you remember the future. And our mission is to be the premier resource for commercial real estate market intelligence in the Kansas City metro area. And we're here today doing another deal spotlight that we're extremely excited about. You know, we've had some great guests on here previously and recently with Paul Shannon of Passive Pockets and InvestWise Collective. We've had Chuck Goode of multiple companies come on and talk about his most recent book, which I have here. Not a shameless plug. This is an absolute plug. Great book, Ego Strength. Go pick it up. Find it on Amazon. Chuck Goode wrote that book, and it's absolutely fantastic. So go check that out. But every so often, and it's going to be very often here in the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, we have many projects that we're bringing to market. Our goal is to do these deal spotlights. So we're taking one of our projects that we're representing a client on, and we're going to bring it to you all so you can ask live questions and you can get the answers that you're looking for on these deals. And we have some really, really great projects. Jason Ring already here, bringing him up on the screen. Jason, let's go, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you also for the introduction to Kevin. I have a call with him tomorrow. So I appreciate everything that you do, man. Please let us know how we can support you. And thank you for being here. But hey, without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Micah and let him introduce himself, what he focuses on here in Kansas City. I gave you a little teaser. And then we're super excited to talk to you about the City Center Townhomes. So Micah, thanks for being here. Take it away, man.
Well, Logan, thanks for having me on the show today. I mean, it's exciting to get to highlight this awesome development deal. And I think it's a really great opportunity for an investor or developer to come in and take this on. And it's really an exciting deal. So my focus is, of course, multifamily and land. And so that's kind of where my main wheelhouse is and what I like to focus on. And like Logan said, we've got a lot of deals coming down the pipeline and some exciting projects coming here in the weeks ahead. So definitely stay tuned for that. But today, I'm excited to talk to you about City Center Townhomes in Grandview, Missouri. And so Grandview it's a really ideally situated location right off of I-49 in South Kansas City. And the city and the mayor of Grandview have really been emphasizing lately, they want growth, which is music to the ears of any developer, right?
Absolutely.
And so the city really is looking to bring in new projects just like this one. And they're happy to see growth happen in their city. And so let's dive right in. So it's a 60-unit townhome development. You've got 30 duplex buildings, and you've got 18 of those units that are 3-story.
Mm-hmm.
And those do not have garages, but there is another 42 units. So the bulk of the units do have a one-car garage to them. And so anyway, so this is what we're promoting here is the land. It's roughly about 4 acres, and it's right in the heart of Grandview. It's literally across the street from City Hall. There's also a park right across the street. And it's just a block off of the main drag through the middle of Grandview. So fantastic location. You are a stone's throw away from the interstate. So for those either renters or buyers, which that's another aspect of this deal, is that a developer that comes in, they can build this out, and they can either rent out or lease up all of these 60 units, or they can build this out and they can sell off each of the individual units. And and I think that's really attractive to a developer. Is you can pivot whichever way works for your business model and what you want to do. But I think that I think the city, myself and the owner, sat down with the city just this last week, and we were kind of talking through the project a little bit with some of their economic folks as well as the city administrator, and they're really excited to see this project happen just across the street from them. And the city administrator looked at me and looked at the owner, and they said, "Guys, you're sitting on a gold mine." And I just wanted to emphasize that too, is that the city is looking at us and they said, "Guys, you are sitting on a gold mine. These lots, if you build them to sell, they are going to sell like crazy. If you lease them out, they're going to lease up." And because you've got so many employers that are right down the street from this location. Honeywell is one in particular that employs 7,000 people. And these people need a place to live, and they're not going to drive an hour to get there. They're going to go to a location that is close by, and these people need options for places to live, and this is a perfect opportunity for that. But when we were talking to the city, they were very much open to a discussion around what kind of tax incentives can we provide for this project to help get this finished out and get this thing built and done. And so, initially we had talked to the city, and there was a discussion about a 50% tax abatement for the next 10 years. That sounds really nice. But there was another option for this with more of a upfront tax incentive when it comes to construction cost, and some tax incentives as far as that goes that would benefit the developer upfront. And so I think they're open to discussing options on that front. But I think it's really encouraging to have a city that is development minded, that knows that what their people need in the city, and they're focused on growth. That is a municipality that a developer wants to work with. That is a big positive. So let's go through this a little bit. Okay, so here's a location. The address is 1401 Goode Avenue. If you go out and visit the site, call me. I'll meet you out there. I'll walk you around and talk through the site location with you. Happy to do that. But if you look at the site today, there's a little bit, it's a construction zone, because the owner of this property has already put in over $1 million worth of infrastructure into this deal. And so when you look out at this piece of ground, it's not a raw piece of land. This thing is what we like to call more than shovel ready. Okay. Because you've got water and sewer and all of that is already been installed. It's already ready to go. It's ready for you to step in and go vertical. And then there's going to be let me see if we can flip through the slides here just a little bit. This is just a view of some of the design things. And thanks to NSPJ Architecture, put together the plans for this. And as you can see down here in the corner, There's a private alley that goes up the middle of this. And then you've got a dog park that's also planned in here. So you've got nice amenities, and that's what people are wanting nowadays. Is they're wanting the nice amenities. They're wanting a park-like setting. You've got a park just to the left next here off of 13th Street, right across the street, and then the addition of a dog park. And then you're also there's a lot of green features that can be built into these units as well. And so a lot of exciting things with this development.
Yeah, Micah, we got a question in, so we put it up here on the screen, man. So when we say more than shovel ready, we got a question in.
Yeah.
And I'm getting questions sent to me, so I'm just putting them up on the screen here. But is the project truly shovel ready? So like, what's left to complete before that vertical construction can begin?
Yeah, well, I mean, the city's already approved the plans for this. I mean, they've got the designs. I mean, all of this, the city's already approved, and it's ready to go. And so, and you've got, like I said, water and sewer and drainage and all that. And so, I mean, it's ready. It's ready to get started. I mean, and I think even the city is like, hey, when are we going to do the next part of this? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're ready to see some vertical construction on this. And I think they're excited to see it. So, I don't know, did that answer the question adequately?
Yeah, I think so. A follow-up to that is we've got one. Somebody's obviously read the offering memorandum. Who's responsible for finishing that middle access road, and what's that expected timeline? So we got some folks really diving into the details here, which is good to see. So let's chat through this middle road, access road.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I think that's something that can be negotiated. I mean, if you want the seller to come in and put in that road, we can do that. We can negotiate that into the deal. Or if you want to grab this project and say, you know what, I got it from here. I'm going to plug in the road. I'm going to start vertical construction, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it. Okay, great. We can do that.
Okay.
So yeah, there's flexibility there.
Excellent. Yep. And Jason is coming in with a question. If we've got any information about any unit comps or for sale and for lease, right? Because one of the really cool things about this project is you've got multiple exit strategies. Everybody continues to talk about, this build for rent craze, and folks can't afford to purchase homes. So let's just talk through, as for lease. So what would rent comps be, and maybe some for sale prices?
Yeah, I think as far as lease comps go, it has been a little bit challenging to find lease comps because there's not a lot of new construction around this site. And here, let me skip ahead to a slide where we kind of dive into this a little bit. Here we go. And so, I mean, what we're seeing is between $1,800 a month for 3-bed units, and these are 3-bed, 2-bath units, about 1,400 to 1,500 square feet. So on the leasing side, we're expecting $1,800 to $2,000 a month per unit. And so I think that's realistically what you can expect. Now on the sales side, I think there's very strong demand for housing in this location. There's some new construction, smaller, single family and duplexes and things like that are selling at $300,000 just right around the corner from this location. And so, I mean, these are nice new construction, nice little development here. I mean, I think getting $300,000 a unit is certainly reasonable, and that's a housing price that is very an entry level, attainable type of housing price, and I think that's very appealing to new home buyers, because you look around at new construction across the metro area, and I mean, Logan, what kind of pricing are you seeing on new construction housing across Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, there's hardly anything under, $400,000, right? So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's really
a lot of
difficult for developers to make their margins unless they're doing it at scale,
yep,
under that $400,000. Now, we've started to see DR Horton down in Raymore really kind of pick up, but they are
yeah,
obviously a national largest home builder in the country, and they're
yep,
doing massive scale. They're doing 55 homes in and around Creekmore, and I think
mhm,
those are ranging around $465,000. And those are age restricted 55 plus. So for a new starter home and that first entry home buyer, there's just not a whole lot of product out there,
yep,
unless somebody's willing to do a
yep,
resale home and get a whole lot less square footage and a lot older product type. So I
yeah,
think this is positioned really well for that type of buyer.
absolutely, 100%. And I'm very familiar with DR Horton and the work that they do. I've sold many of their homes when I was in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I actually listed some of their homes for sale, and so my previous office in a past life, we were pretty close with DR Horton and did a lot of business with them and connecting new home buyers to their homes. And they try to do entry level type of homes and just a broad mix. But yeah, they're on a whole nother level. But
Mm-hmm.
it's encouraging to see a home builder like that come back into the Kansas City market and see the potential that this market has. But back to City Center here, I mean, being able to build a home at a $300,000 price point, I think that's a big deal. And I think it opens the door of home ownership to a lot of buyers because, like you said, finding attainable housing at a good price. I mean, because we're seeing homes at 4 and 500,000 and 600,000, for some starter homes like in Overland Park, Lee Summit, in the Northland and things like that. And it's just, there's a lot of maybe first time home buyers that's not in the budget. And so I think to
Yeah.
have an opportunity like this at $300,000, I think that's a pretty big deal.
Right. Yeah. And I want to break this down a little bit more. So I'm actually going to present something here for us
Yeah.
to take a look at because Mike and I have done an enormous amount of work on the rental comps. So let me share this real quick here, you guys. So, Mike, if you could, I'm going to remove yours just for a second. We'll get
Yep. Go
that back
for it.
up. But here's the really, this is the bread and butter of what people need to be looking at, right? And this is looking for 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom units with at least 1,400 square feet in Grandview, Missouri, right? Take a look at this. These are currently listed townhome comparables. Check this out.
Yep.
$1,650 at $1.06 a square foot. It's fully renovated, but we're talking about late 1960s unit, right? So late 1960s.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 65 years newer, and we believe that we can get $1,800 to $2,000 per month, right? You'll be able to look at even some other ones that aren't renovated here, anywhere from $1,300 to $1,650, right? And so here's a nice comp here. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath duplex, only 1,200 square feet, and it's listed at $1,775, which would be right around $1.48 a square foot, right? But if you include the basement, we're at 95 cents per square foot. It is fully remodeled, so that's a really good comp, right? If
Yep.
we go over to the Sunrise Farms community, this is a newly built 2023 single family rental with 3 to 4 bedroom units, and they're around 1,900 square foot. Look at the rents on these bad boys, anywhere from $2,300 to $2,500 per month, which I think just showcases the ability for this project to really be sandwiched right between that, right? You don't need a big single family home. Maybe you don't want the maintenance of that, or you're not looking for a single family home, but you do have a townhome here that is 1,400 square feet above, but you're positioned perfectly between the Sunrise Farms community and seeing what some older product type is there on the marketplace. So I think that's a really good way. If you guys want more information in regards to sales comps or lease comps, Michael and I would be happy to share this in-depth analysis with you, but we do believe there's a lot of supporting data. Just looking here, right? We've got a 3-bed, 2.5-bath, single-family home at 1,800 square feet at $2,000 a month, right? And so we've got some really nice comps to be able to share with you guys. So just wanted to break that down. We didn't necessarily have that in our offering memorandum, but because we don't want to necessarily push somebody to for sale versus for lease. And I think there could be a hybrid component that somebody can look at this deal for as well. But we're happy to share any comps that you would like on both of those fronts. So, Mike, I'm going to let you get back to it, but I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah, I think there's some really strong fundamentals here, because there's job growth and, you've got the demand. There's a lot of housing demand in this market, and just close access to the interstate. And for some of the larger multifamily properties that are closer to some just up the road, there's large waiting lists just to get in there for some of these businesses as employees. And so, the demand is certainly there, and the location is fantastic. And like I said, I think there's a lot of strong fundamentals here. There's the attainability that's there as well. And so, I think this is a big win-win project for a developer to come in and kind of finish out.
Yeah, just buttoning that up on the rental rate side of things. Your average monthly rent around 3-bedroom rentals in Grandview is around $1,600 per month. The median townhome rent, the townhouse rent, is going to get a nice premium there, about $140 premium to $1,740. But check this out, guys. And I know there's a lot of people listening from the coasts and other places. We're talking about $1.05 per square foot on the average price per square foot. The other thing I will say, and needs to be kind of thought through, is the annual rent growth that we're seeing here in Grandview is about 6.5%. And I know that number seems really high, but there's been not that much product brought online. Grandview is a fast-growing submarket. It's located very strategically in the Kansas City metro area to major highway access and employers that we talked about earlier. So I think this buttons up just the rental rate summary. Again, if you have any other questions or are interested in the rental rate and the comps that we have put together, please do reach out to us. Micah, we do have another question coming in here. How customizable are the units if we're building for sale? Can finishes or layouts be changed? Great question there. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for that. Micah, I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah, I think there is room for customization. Given that you haven't officially broke ground yet, and and I'm used to being in this space too, working with a lot of new home builders and things like that. There's certainly you haven't gone vertical yet, and so there's certainly some customizations that can be made to an extent. There's certainly some things that can't be done. Within reason, I think there are things that you can customize and change. Absolutely. And so it just depends on what we're talking about and things like that. But, you've got these utilities kind of in place. You've got the lots set up. You've got everything approved and kind of set there. And so I think it depends on what kind of changes we're talking about. Major changes, we're changing this from 60 townhome units to 100 units plus retail. Okay, that's a different project. Probably not going to work out. So right. Within reason, sure. Yeah. It just depends on what we're talking about exactly. So
yeah, well, moving on to some of the project design and amenities, we've got some questions around this. Why include EV charging and optional solar panels? Have we seen that impact is going to help the buyer or renter demand? And then also, what does the HOA cover, and what are projected dues on this deal?
Yeah, so I think more and more renters and young professionals are looking for EV chargers. We're seeing that added to homes more and more. And I think that kind of you've got a crowd of people that are looking for those types of sustainability types of things. And there's a lot more electric cars on the road nowadays, and so it's just something that we're seeing more and more. And if we can put that in there as an added perk for a new construction unit, I think that's a huge positive. And I think that also speaks to just the rental market and what consumers are really looking for. And and when it comes to solar panels and things, everybody's always looking to save some money on their utility bills, and having that kind of plugged in. I mean, I think people are going to be excited about that, and that kind of fits with what they're wanting. And so, and that goes back to, what are the types of amenities are new renters and consumers looking for? And so I think that kind of fits. The dog park, which I think is pretty awesome. Most people out there, I mean, you get a new place to live, and then what's the first thing you go do? You go try to get a new dog or a new pet.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people have dogs. So I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, because we're seeing that in a lot of multifamily projects where they're adding dog parks, or they're close to dog parks on the property. And so I think that's a really smart thing to have built into this.
Absolutely. Got another question in. What due diligence materials are available today? We're saying it's, fully shovel ready, right? Minus that main street or that middle street that on the property. But like, is there engineering? Is there environmental soil reports? Talk to us about the due diligence package that's available for developers,
Yeah,
Micah.
all of that's available. So everything that you've got listed there. I mean, you've got the engineering reports, the architectural plans, anything that you need. I mean, we've got all the plans ready to go. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. So yes, we have it.
The other thing that I will say is, like, we got a question in about, have we heard of the First Place loan program? And I don't know necessarily if, the green initiatives here with the solar panels and the EV chargers have anything, from a benefit standpoint from you going to get financing. However, I know that this is a statewide program in Missouri via the MHDC that offers a 30-year fixed rate mortgage through the FHA, VA, and USDA and conventional, with below market interest rates for first-time buyers and for veterans. And that includes an optional 4% cash assistance, which can be for down payments, for closing costs, and that comes in the form of a forgivable second mortgage after 10 years. Here's the big benefit. If you're a developer and you're worried and or concerned about people, absorbing these units, and your thought process is, how are people going to afford them? There's also no minimum down payment required. They must occupy the home within the first 60 days of the purchase. Credit scores have to be above 640, and DTI limits do apply, 45 to 60%. But that is a great program on the Missouri side that allows for these first-time home buyers to really utilize this. And guys, we're talking about 60 people here, right? 60 people, okay? And so that's what you have to go find if you're doing a for sale or for rent, right? You got to find 60 clients in a fast-growing submarket in Kansas City. So yes, definitely heard of the First Place loan program. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And we do think that'd be a great fit for a developer to utilize here in regards to getting these units sold through. In regards to absorption rate, Micah, if somebody's thinking about developing this deal, there are some questions, around, hey, can we buy a certain amount of the lots? Do we have to buy them all? Talk to us about maybe a phased approach on the development side. Would you build them all at once? How fast do we think these things can get absorbed from a for rent standpoint or maybe a for sale standpoint?
Yeah, I think that a developer that comes in and takes this project on, with them being kind of, duplexes and attached. And so I think you kind of do it in one shot and you build them all at the same time. So, it's just 60 units. And so I think it's kind of hard to do do this in phases. Not to say that you can't, but I mean, start to finish, I mean, you could have all of these built. I mean, we're estimating that you could have this built within 7 months, perhaps about 6 or 7 months, and is all it would take to have these built. And so, and that's to have all 60 units finished. So, I mean, with that kind of a timeline, I mean, I don't know that a phased development really makes a lot of sense. I think that if you're looking to build this out and set it up for lease, I think you do a lot of pre-leasing. You get you really hit the ground running with trying to advertise and market these units. And I think that you can really get a lot of units leased up prior to completion of the project.
Good. Yep, absolutely. Well, want to just direct people over to the Crexy link. I'm going to drop this into our chats here, but if you want to learn more information, reach out to Micah about this project. We've got a full offering memorandum available here, a flyer. You can submit your LOI. All the information that you need here is live here on Crexy and on LoopNet, so you can check that out, or you can just reach out to Micah, myself, and we'll make sure to get you all the information. Micah, do you have any closing thoughts or any other things that you wanted everybody to walk away with today?
Yeah, I guess the last piece of information here is just it's like I said, it's a great project. I think it's going to perform pretty well, very well actually. And again, given the demand, and there's been a slowdown in new construction, given where the economy's been the last couple of years, and so we've seen a major slowdown, and we have not seen the large buildup in new construction that a lot of other markets have seen, like in the Sun Belt region, which is why Kansas City has been leading the way with rent growth. I mean, I've been talking about this a great deal on social media about how our rent growth, we've been ranking for the last year or two in the number 2 spot. We were at one time last year, we were number 2 behind New York City for rent growth.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. And so we are well above the national average. The national average was barely breaking above, barely able to get to 1%, and we were chugging along at 3%. I mean, we were more than 3 times the national average on rent growth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's here. The demand is here. A project like this is needed, and just like the folks at Grandview at the city looked at me and said, Micah, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. I'm telling you, this thing is going to sell like crazy. So not my words, but I will definitely take them and use them.
Absolutely. Well, make sure you visit that link below. It's dropped on YouTube. It's dropped here on LinkedIn, so you can check that out. We've plastered this everywhere. You'll be able to find more information about this deal. My closing thoughts would only be that, hey, when you're looking at a new development, many things are stalling out without the incentives to be able to get deals done. The city, we've met with them. They are ready to play ball. They want to see this develop. They will work with the next developer on a way to structure a deal to make sense for rent, for sale. You have multiple exit strategies, rents between $1,800 to $2,000. The sale price, you might have to sell the first couple at $300,000, but you may be able to start to see, holy cow, we got a lot of demand, or maybe one of the product types goes for a little bit higher, but that's where we're being conservative at. $300,000 for a new home in Kansas City, Missouri seems like a fantastic way to get rocking and rolling on the development side. If you want to reach out to Midwest Commercial Real Estate Advisors, myself, Micah, anyone on the team, Chad, Nick, Katie, Nathan, feel free to do so. You can find us here on LinkedIn. We're always coming to you almost weekly, maybe bi-weekly at this point, in regards to the deal spotlights and the guests that we're having on. Micah, thank you so much for coming on today, doing a deal spotlight for us on the City Center Townhomes. We're excited about this project. Look, if you're interested in Kansas City and you want to get 60 units built in a great submarket, we can help you do that. We can prepare any information that you need to make your informed decision. If you're interested in talking to builders because you have the capital but maybe don't have boots on the ground here, Mike and I can get you introduced to multiple builders who have done product types just like this. They can bid this thing out for you and they can work with you directly. So we'd love to talk with you about this project. Micah, thanks again for your time. And thank you all for joining us today on the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse. We'll see you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Logan. Appreciate it.